Hello and welcome to another quick look. Me, GamerWolfSix, of another furry visual novel. This one, Password, a game about, as I'm going up the synopsis, you are Dave, a hyena, who just finished his final year of schooling, along with a few of his friends. What better way to end school year than to spend it all in an all-expense-paid stay in a luxury mansion for a whole month? After all, after this month, everyone is going to be moving away to focus on their chosen paths in life. So this is the last time that everyone's going to be together. For a long way? Will romance flourish in the time isolated in the mansion, living the high life? Or is it all an elaborate ploy by someone pulling the strings as the mansion itself, at the mansion itself that just sees the group as a bunch of playthings for something much more sinister? Expect a story full of questions and mysteries as their friends suffer through tragedy, death, and looming threat that grows ever closer, all the while trying to remember the nicer times in their lives before everything may come to an abrupt end. Characters will Minecraft. Decisions will be made. The shying away from the consequences of such will only make the journey forward much harder. Can you change their fate by using a mysterious vault that seemingly wants the password to open? I've never seen a vault that has a password. A code maybe, but I don't know. Anyways, is this your one salvation to save everyone? So, before we start as well, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. I'm just checking their Patreon. I didn't look at that. My bad. Okay, see member options. Access to Patreon-only content is $1 a month. I'm not sure if that means early access. But yeah, I do want to note that this game seems to have at least last been updated on itch.io in 2023, so, you know. And if you want me to do a Let's Play series of this game, then tell me, and I'll give it a point, which will, put a power on the user's choice list. And if you want me to do a quick look of any other game, then tell me, and I'll do that. Hyena. Is there anything else to add? Nope. So let's start. We'll reset face, let's start. There we go. The following game contains graphic content. Ooh. This isn't a conventional story. It's intended to be played multiple times for the best experience. They die. The game is a whip. The streets around my house were empty, likely a cause because of how early it was. Normally, I'd be in bed for the next few hours, get up, get myself some coffee, and move on to doing whatever it is I need to do that day. School ended yesterday, and rather than enjoy the fact that I didn't need to get up for classes, I was making my way downtown, walking fast. Sorry, I have to do that joke. Towards the bus stop, where I was to meet my friends. And why were they up so early as well? One of us, by some miracle, or perhaps stroke of good luck, managed to get an all-expense paid vacation to a mansion up in the mountains for a month. What better way to celebrate than to have a taste of the high life before moving on to college? I set my bag down at the bus stop, checking the road. It was as dead as when I left the house, with no sign of a private bus that was meant to pick us up. You'd think it'd be a limo or something. Groaning, I rubbed my eyes. Tiredness wouldn't have been an issue if I had had the time to have some coffee, but excitement kept me from thinking rationally. I wondered how long it would take for the others to arrive, if only because, once someone else was here, I could afford to zone out until I could take a nap on the bus. Oh dear, you look conscious. When I turned to face the voice, I was greeted with Roswell's smile, along with a familiar scent of freshly brewed coffee coming from the 2 cups on the tray he held out. I assumed you might need a kickstart to the morning. Here, you know which one is yours. Rubbing my eyes again, I nodded, reaching out for the coffee on the left. Not that I really knew which one was mine, but I had a 50-50 shot of getting it right. Failing that, I could always look at the name written on the cup. He's got the Steven Universe shirt. Looking over my hand, I look at the cup, what the cup said. I blinked. There was nothing written on the cup. Shaking my head again, there's no way that the cup was blank. I squinted, trying to make out the writing on it. Okay, we have to make a name. Well, if you're gonna force me, game... Ooh. Stinky, because he's a hyena, and also like that name of that golden retriever. Look him up on E6. He's kind of nice. I furrowed my brow, trying to make out the words in the cup. What is it? Is this my one? You can't tell because of the name? I turned the cup around, frowning. You'd expect me to know based on this? Oh, wow. I guess whoever wrote that must have been just asleep, as you are, Dave. The order should still be right, though. Okay. Grumbling, I took a sip. Thankfully, it tasted fine. Dang, game. I didn't think anywhere would be open this early. I know some places, but don't worry about it. All that matters is you have your awake juice. We drank our coffee. The street was just as quiet as it was when we arrived, even with the added company. Before long, I noticed Roswell watching me curiously, much in the same way that he'd watch for something to happen. Roswell? Why are you staring? Aren't you excited? Or what, for this vacation? Of course for the vacation. I thought you would be, I don't know, more energetic? Well, I guess maybe a little. I laughed. That classical hyena trait that shone through when I'd be caught off guard. Hee. I don't know. I tried. But, maybe wait until coffee has had a chance to wake me up. Roswell rolled his eyes. She sells seashells by the seashore. I should really do that before every visual novel. Rummaging around in his pockets for something before quickly shoving whatever it is into his mouth. Speed. Roswell wants to double check things like this with me. Like this with me back when we were kids. Whether it was a habit or I do not know. You can read. I mean, I know it's late in the day, but so also, can we config? Yeah, just a bit slower. There were many times I'd do the same, but it was mostly for homework and such. Even if that was only a couple years ago. Before that, he'd been away, having moved far enough that we couldn't hang out like we used to. But hanging out as kids was easy when you were literal neighbors. You know, this will be a good sort of send-off, I suppose? That's what I thought. As I was replying, I watched Roswell shoving more of whatever it is in his pocket into his mouth, losing where I was taking my thoughts. What are you eating? Breakfast. Breakfast? Show me. You're not eating candy for breakfast, are you? Hey, they're fruit gummies. Fruit is for breakfast, ergo, this is fine. But the sugar... I always find it silly when people are, when I'm like, or somebody's like, you know, bananas and juices and stuff like that, you know, healthy stuff, and they're like, but that has so much sugar in it. It's like, dude, we're American. I feel like fruit, like juices and literal fruit is probably high on the healthy list for Americans. Whatever point he was making was punctuated by him shaking his coffee cup. I knew he had a sweet tooth, but I wondered what the dentist would think. Oi! Roswell and I looked over to where the voice had come from, watching as an energetic dragon bounded towards us. Good morning, friends. Orlando bounced on the spot, dropping his backpack next to mine and throwing an arm over our shoulders. Morning, Orlando. I shot the dragon a look, his bulk having nearly made me spill my coffee. Getting the hint, he backed down, stretching out his arms. Early mornings like this are a great start for adventures, don't you think? Only if there's coffee involved. Some of us can be functional in the morning without it, you know, Dave? Why talking down us coffee drinkers? Turning away before I could get a reply in, Orlando called down the street to a crocodile slowly lumbering his way over to us. Sal, hurry up already. Setting his bag down too, Sal gave each of us a small wave. Good morning. You look as awake as Dave does, Sal. Leave me alone. I'm tired. But answer me this, Sal. Are you at least excited for the mansion? At the very mention of the word, Orlando let out an excited cheer that was perhaps a little too loud for how early it was. Mansion, mansion. Oh, he's mansion. Mansion, mansion. Whatever, I tried. Orlando, less loud, please. He stopped, shooting Sal a sour look. I can see she sells seashells. Well, excuse me for having looked forward to this for a while. No classes. Mansion. How often do you get a month off, all expensive paid vacation to a life of luxury? It looked like Sal went to say something, but shook his head, looking off down the road to check for the bus. So what? Too excited for the trip? What, too excited for the trip or too not? So, it's a tie so far. Oh, that's what he meant. Maybe. Dean's here, though. He is? No sooner than I had asked, I felt a hand land heavily on my shoulder. Hey, hey! Dean threw his arm over my shoulder and smiled at everyone in turn. My alarm didn't go off. Well, it did, but not loud enough, I guess. Must have hit snooze one too many times. Don't worry. I assume that might happen, which is why we're meeting now. So, you're not late. Dean grumbled, rubbing his face with his free hand. He looked half asleep, from how his gaze seemed to keep drifting off to somewhere far away. Aside from tired, how are you? Are you excited for the mansion? What mansion? What do you mean, what mansion? Where do you think we were going today? If I'm being honest, when Sal said that everyone was heading somewhere for vacation, and threw me an invitation, I was just happy to be included. Plus, he kneaded my shoulder, eyeing up the coffee in my hand. Getting to know everyone a little better never hurts. I rolled my eyes, a slight smile forming on my face. Dean and I were friends? Not with benefits or anything more than that, but he was for sure trying to woo me. He was old-fashioned, like that apparently. He asked my parents to date me, which was super awkward. Joking. Anyways, and went on a proper date before calling anything official. Until then, he made it clear that he was interested in pursuing something, despite me being free to do what I want. Sal I didn't know as well as Orlando knew him. After meeting, we'd hung out a few times, but he and Orlando were mostly off doing things. Most times, I saw Sal. It was times like this when we're all together as a group. Roswell and Orlando were school friends, with Orlando being who I hung out with a lot while Roswell was away. They got on as fast friends when Roswell entered the picture. I had completely forgotten everybody's names. He's Roswell, right? Orlando's the big guy, right? I think. No. Anyways. But part of that was because Orlando was the high school president of the anime club. Speaking of, there was another member of the anime club who waiting on, and he had arrived the moment I registered he was still missing. Hey Haas, you made it. As he approached, Haas took off his sunglasses and hooked them in his pocket. Balancing a tray of coffee cups in his free hand. Coffee cups. God, I need to go to like enunciation classes. Oh, Haas, you seem to be a fair bit of coffee. Seem to have a fair bit of coffee there. Yes, one of these is for you, big guy. Dean's eyes lit up, shuffling around me to get his coffee and downing a good amount of it before sending it back contently. You're a lifesaver. I brought another one for Dave, but it seems like he's already had one. Oh no, I'll drink that one too. Gimme. Gremlin, here, take it. Haas handed it out to me, and I swiped it eagerly, quietly murmuring as I used the heat to warm my hands. Hey Dave, given I'm already halfway through mine, interested in sharing that extra one you have? I felt my eyes narrow. It's times like these that I dislike that Dean took his coffee the same as me. But my look was enough to dissuade Dean from asking again. So, Haas, how's things? Sleep well? Of course. As if demonstrating the point, he ran a hand through his mane, adjusting how I was sitting. Always have to get my beauty rest in. Can't afford having crow's feet at my age. Not to mention, if you're going to have a mane, better have it well groomed. Haas was always the one to have aspirations for the big screen. Or maybe he was just very conscious of his appearance. Not that that was a bad thing. Occasionally, he'd be wearing the latest clothes, or smelling really nice. Okay. But always well groomed. I admired him for that sometimes. So, about this mansion, Haas. What about it? You don't look too excited. Maybe he just needs more coffee in his system like Dave does. What about you, Haas? At the moment, we're at a tie. Tie, huh? Over who's excited or who isn't. Not as if you'd get to experience something like this every day. So I'd say I'm on the side of embracing the opportunity. The sound of the bus arriving drew our attention as it pulled up beside us, a few of us consciously checking that what bags we'd brought were still accounted for. So it's time. Really this time? Or it's time? Orlando looked like he was about to burst with how he jumped up and down. Geez, you're gonna wear me out just looking at you, Orlando. Calm down. What? Orlando and Dean chat about something. I zoned out, opting instead to look down the road. There was one last person I was waiting on, someone who had personally invited that hadn't shown yet. As I turned around, there's a polar bear standing there with a clipboard. God, now I'm saying clipboard. Looking as if he'd had little sleep. He adjusted the cap on his head. Well, he looked up at the list looking to Roswell. I'm picking up a bunch of people to head to the mountains. Have I got the right group? That should be us. The driver nodded, closing something off his clipboard. Fuck. Somebody said that and now I'm like, instead of clipboard, it's clipboard. Before looking over each of us, counting. Clipboard. It's like rough. Or crown. Someone's missing? Missing? Wait. Yeah, they're just running late is all. Won't be too much longer. Alright, well, hop on then. Roswell looked at me confused. Who are we missing? Everyone's here. Sal, us, Roswell, bus, mansion. Sal rolled his eyes, retrieving his bag at the same time. Orlando's before getting on the bus. Oh right, that +1 I said you could bring. Now I get it. Roswell turned to Orlando soon after, and I got the impression that Roswell had Ooh, sorry. Give me a sec. That Roswell had prioritized what he was about to do over questioning who we were waiting on. Say, Orlando, how do you think I managed to get the mansion for a month anyway? Oh, I don't know. Well, let's just say family connections. How readily available are mansions anyway? You didn't have to do something spooky, did you? You slept in one for a night. Well, you know mansions are mostly empty. Orlando Scales paled slightly, his excitement shot. I didn't think Roswell's family had that much sway, but I was open to this just being a lucky break. Spooky? Well, there may have been a bargain struck with God, maybe a demon. I wasn't exactly paying attention to the specifics. Orlando hurriedly reached out for Roswell, who stepped back out of reach, throwing his hands up as he backed over his bag. Tell me you didn't, Roswell. He made another go for the boar, but fell short as Roswell used his smaller height to duck out of the way and get behind Orlando, making for the door of the bus. Just remember to pay care on the toll for crossing the river when you get on the bus, Orlando. Also, is there something I'm not getting because people might die? Or will die? Roswell giggled, jumping onto the bus and disappearing out of view. Well, whatever the reason, I'm happy. It'd be nice to have an early taste of the good life. An early taste? Think only taste these days. Us joined Roswell soon after, with Orlando still having a miniature panic attack on the side talk. He'd always been wary of the supernatural, which had given Roswell interest in. It occasionally brought response like this. That name badge the driver had said Liam, right? Not Karen? I wasn't paying attention? Oh god, I'm going to die, aren't I? Yes. With slumped shoulders, Orlando waddled onto the bus, leaving myself and Dean on the sidewalk. So? Dean had finished his coffee and flicked it into the trash can nearby. When he turned back to me, he placed both hands heavily on my shoulders, making my knees buckle, if only a little bit. So, a month alone. I wouldn't say alone, but I chuckled again, getting the impression of what he was hinting at. He wasn't openly stating that what he was getting at, but the implication made my skin go beet red under my fur. If only I had the swagger to match. He's got swag. I saw his eyes flick up over my shoulder, and his expression soured after a moment of confusion. And I could see his jaw clenched. The specifics of his reaction I'd forgotten the moment I saw a familiar face approaching. His rifle. Oh. The wolf approached lazily, as if he wasn't just about to miss the bus. Maybe it was because he wasn't sure I wouldn't have left without him, or maybe because the bus was still idling beside us. I could feel eyes on me, but I looked up to the faces of my friends looking through the windows of the bus. They seemed to be regarding my +1 with a spectrum of discomfort and disapproval, likely due to his reputation. Hey. Tyson was sizing me up as I looked from him to Dean, the bear looking no different to those on the bus, but he refrained from saying anything. Just in time, yeah? Dino was grumbling something under his breath, grabbing his bag and getting onto the bus, given no one else around to say hello. My attention remained solely on the wolf before me. Yeah, just in time. Is he sticking his tongue out? You didn't tell anyone I was coming, did you? I laughed again, and Tyson knew better than any of the others when I'd be caught out and how long I'd been around. Not long as Roswell, but longer than Orlando. You're a fucking brat, but no avoiding it now. But hey, you're here, so that's good, right? He shrugged in reply, seemingly distracted by something or otherwise making a conscious effort not to look at me. Yeah, well, don't think I'll be making any new friends this month. Not sure if I'd call that good. Hey, you never know. Prefer if I didn't, to be honest. Easier that way. Still, thanks for the invite. Of course, Ty. Couldn't not invite you after all. I followed Tyson onto the bus, sticking behind him as he shoved his way down towards the back. Man, this is a bus-ass bus. The bus lurched once we're all on board, and had dumped my bags in an empty seat. Everyone else had seemingly spread out, with Tyson at the back, Roswell and Orlando sitting close together, and the others spread out in their own space. And who we sit next to is who we're gonna date. No, but really, what did it cost us? Oh, you know, only our souls. Orlando let out a wail, clutching his head. You know where he's not being Oh, that's me. Sorry. I was like, Orlando? You know he's not being serious, right? How do you know, Dave? Roswell gestured at me with a piece of red licorice, a smug grin on his face. He knew how to push buttons, especially Orlando's. Well, our souls aren't worth that much, are they? Not in this economy. Hey now, you can't go saying that. You're worth plenty. Yeah, your soul alone could pay for this whole trip. I laughed, nervous before settling into a wary smile. Somehow, being told I was enough to cover the whole trip wasn't exactly reassuring. There you go. Now you have your soul back, Orlando. Orlando and Roswell looked towards one another before looking back at me. So, you do know the other reason I put this together, right? Huh? What reason? Ever since the instant, you've been sort of distant. Muted, maybe. Like, I don't know. You don't seem the cheerful hyena you were before it happened. Oh, so let me clear my throat. Probably shouldn't have ate spicy stuff before this. Oh, I guess I haven't. Huh. Once again, they looked at one another, almost as if waiting for the other to say something first. We just miss the old you is all. I'm fine, really. Just, well, you know how it is. Are you sure? Positive. Then, I guess that's all there is to it. This will be the best vacation ever. Promise. Best vacation ever? I sure hope so. With high school over for Haas, Roswell, Orlando, and I, this was going to be the last time we could freely hang out together as a group. Sure, there was every chance we'd be able to see each other every now and then, or again, but nothing like this. I looked to the others on the bus, a slight smile forming. These were my friends, and I was happy they were here. Stifling a yawn, I wondered if I would get a nap in now or hold off. The trip to the mansion apparently was going to take hours. So, pause. Sorry. Reading ons. I mean, I did exercise a lot today, like a good couple of hours, and then had a lot of food. So there was no rush to immediately nap when I could see how the others were going. Nap. We'll see what Tyson's deal is, you know? What should I do? I glanced back at the others as I made my way down to the back of the bus. As I drew closer, I noticed Ty watching me closely, the gentle swish of his tail giving me a clue on his mood. Hey. Hey, Ty. I sat down next to Tyson, who, rather than lifting his legs up to make room, just spread himself out further once I was settled. What's up? Nothing. Just checking in. How's the bus going? Going fine. Although bullshit that you weren't checking in on me 'cause you're worried. Yeah. Maybe a little? I'll be fine, Stripes. Are we stripy? I guess we're striped hyenas. You're not getting ideas about doing anything back here, are you? What do you... My eyes dropped down to his lap, where he was making a lewd gesture with his hands. All it took was a moment for me to bring my gaze back up to realize I'd been busted. As I shrank to my shoulders, embarrassed, Tyson roared with laughter. I'm out of your league, Stripes. Look at me, an Adonis figure out here. Almost immediately, I retorted, jaw clenched. I'm not. Oh yeah? You confessed to me, Dave? Are you confessing to me, Dave? Despite my groan, he snickered to himself. Ty knew how to push my buttons well, and some of that was from when he was the local bully. Things were different between us now, but the others, not so much. Still, he was as much of a friend now as any of the others, and even though he was razzing me, the same as I expect Dean to, I managed to crack a smile of my own. You wish I was confessing. Ty rolled his eyes and settled it in, stretching out further to take up more space, so I was half pushed out of the seat. So a month, yeah? This trip? Yeah, month. Huh. Ty's gaze dipped for a moment before looking back to me, his expression something I couldn't quite place. What's up? Nothing, just thinking. You? Thinking? Rather than give me any sort of proper reply, he placed a foot against my cheek and pushed me further off the seat. Okay, sorry. Just a lot going on is all. Don't worry about it. If you say so. I guess I'll let you get back to it. I'm currently doing it. You should go take a nap, though, Stripes. You look wrecked. Yeah, eventually. I'll talk to you later, Ty. See ya. I slid the rest of the way out of the seat and wondered if I should take a seat, or take that nap now, or if there's anything else before I did. Well, we're partway through, so how about we sleep, so we can, get to the story a bit more. I returned to my seat and double-checked everything was neatly in my bag before lounging back and closed my eyes with a sigh. Dave, are you sleeping? 'Cause if you're not, I want to ask you something. I opened my eyes, tired, but giving Roswell a quick smile. He was leaning over the chair in front of me, chin resting on his folded arms. What's up, Roswell? I just wanted to know if you're planning on documenting this vacation at all. Like, did you bring your camera or something? What, like my phone? Fishing out from my pocket, I flashed at Roswell. I guess that works. Oh, actually, there's something I brought along. Let me pull it out. I rummaged in my backpack and pulled out a small notebook, run my fingers across the cover. I have this. I figured that if this is going to be the last time we get to hang out, maybe it'd be neat to have like a little journal. Maybe I can snap parts of it too. Russell let his arms drape over the back of the chair, eyes flicking down to the notebook in my hands. How are you going to scrapbook things without a Polaroid camera, Dave? I can draw, or print them out on my phone when I get back home. Well, I think it's a good idea. I have my own notebook, so I might make a journal of my own. Maybe then we can, compare, and make a couple of copies for everyone else. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, let's sort it out later. For now, I'm guessing you're going to try sleep again? Probably. I'm still beat. Well, alright. If you wake up at some point and want to chill, Orlando and I will be watching stuff near the front. Or maybe playing cards or something. Sleep well. Roswell plopped back down and wandered up the length of the bus back over to Orlando before sitting down. As for me, I put the journal and my phone away, resting back and closed my eyes just once more. The gentle rolling of the bus and the low drone of the engine was enough to lull me asleep, given how tired I was, even after 2 cups of coffee. I must have slept the whole way to the mansion, as when I was coming back to, I could smell the distant scent of honey, a gentle patting on my cheek. There was also a vague sound of someone talking, but I couldn't make that out. Huh? Dean? I rubbed my eyes, adjusting to the sunlight coming from the window. The bus was still in motion, so we hadn't arrived yet, but it seemed like we were getting close. Oh, good morning, sleepyhead. You've been asleep for most of the drive. Figured someone would wake you up before we arrive at the property. Oh, thanks. But now that you're awake, and we have some time to kill, something bounced off the side of his head, stunning him briefly, but as he shook his head and rubbed the spot the coin now on the floor of the bus hit him. Coin? I looked across to where the coin had come from. Souse seemed to be shooting Dean a disapproving look, catching my gaze briefly in a mix and his expression turning to an apologetic one. Although he settled back right as Dean registered that I can read what sat on the ground, pocketing the coin happily. Probably not enough time to do anything anyway. Just make sure you have everything. Wouldn't want you to leave something on the bus. Turning to head back to a seat, he stopped by Sal, and the two had a brief chat as I gathered my things. Not that there was a lot to put back anyway, and spent the rest of the time watching the trees go by. Before long, the bus pulled up in front of the large house. As we gathered all of our bags, we filed out of the bus, with Ty pulling up the rear, following me closely. Geez, this is an old-ass mansion. With iron bars on everything? Well, okay, there's iron bars down here, but up here, I guess not. Those could just be slats. Before us stood a mansion, some 3 stories tall. This is where we were staying, and effectively our home for the month. A smile formed to my face as the excitement started to settle in, now that I could see it, with Tyson whistling in awe next to me, echoing how I was feeling. Roswell and Orlando led the charge, excitedly heading towards the front door to the mansion with their bags in tow. This place is amazing. Look how big it is. Right? This is gonna be great. They hurried on board, or ahead. I can read. Okay, I can't. Leaving the rest of us to come to our senses. Big house. Yeah. I was half expecting them to come out with some lewd joke with the setup Sal had given him. I didn't catch that. When it didn't come, I came to the assumption that he was just flooded as the rest of us with just how big the place was, or floored. Haas stepped forward, stretching. As big as it is, I don't see myself living in a place like this. I'd rather something more modern? Ty shifted the weight of his bag, muttered something under his breath, barely loud enough for me to hear. Making you feel like a fucking king, I reckon. Not for me, though. Good thing it isn't forever then, Ty. Haas wandered over to the others, with Ty lingering close by, waiting for me. The driver stepped off the bus, making sure we're all disembarked before tipping his cap. I see everyone's got everything, so I'll be heading off. I'll be back in a month. Enjoy your trip. With only a wave, the driver got back on the bus and drove away. I watched as the bus disappeared among the trees, wondering if I'd be happy or sad to see the bus come back when the trip was over. I must have zoned out, as soon enough tied an arm over my shoulder and started guiding me to the front door, to where the others were waiting. Alright, we're here, everyone. Roswell reached out and hit the doorbell before it turned back to us. This is gonna be great. There's a pool outside and gym downstairs. There's Guy. And in the forest, I think there's a river, so we can go fishing maybe? As Roswell continued on about how much fun we were going to have, the rest of us had turned to a sharply dressed butler that had opened the door greeting us. Master Roswell, I presume? Roswell spawned on the spot, startled by the new voice addressing him. Yeah, that's me. Very good. If you'd all allow me, if you'd all follow me inside, we can get you settled in. Turning on his heel, the auditor wandered inside, leaving the rest of us to look at one another before looking at Roswell. Should we? Might as well, yeah. We filed into the foyer of the mansion, the tiles underneath seemingly freshly cleaned from how glossy they looked. Gentlemen, I welcome you to Hammond Manor. The butler gestured towards the stairs, leading up, before he continued, I got these. Sorry. Piece up pace. The usher gestured towards the stairs, leading up before he continued. Bedrooms are up on the first floor, with the further facilities on the floor above that. Don't need to tell me twice. I don't need a tour. All eyes were on Tyson as he said it, although the butler seemed to give him a quick once-over before addressing the rest of us again. You have the freedom to roam as you please within the manor, so long as no damage comes of you doing so. Really? We can go anywhere? You may, although there are some rooms that you will find that you cannot access. Well, sure, but... Orlando trailed off, but my curiosity pushed me forward to finish asking the question. What kinds of rooms are off limits? The elder stroked his mustache, seemingly thinking of it over before looking at and talking to me directly. Mostly those I'm still cleaning, or those that have less than ideal furnishings. To say the least, if you find a bedroom with nothing in it, consider it off limits until they are clean. I have left doors open to the ones prepared for you, so please take your pick. Ty wandered off up the stairs, headed ahead of everyone, lugging his bag. Alright, that seems easy. With a place this big, are we meeting back up at some point later? You shall find the dining room off to your left. Make yourselves comfortable, and I shall have refreshments ready if you will need them. Well, alright. With a slight bow, the outer wandered off in the direction he pointed the dining room before disappearing into a joint room. I gotta... Sorry. That left the rest of us to take our bags up and find rooms. We each had our own, and thankfully they're all fairly close to one another. I dropped my bag off in my room and had a quick look around before wandering back downstairs. Seemed like everyone had already moved on though, as I was soon standing in the foyer by myself. Where should I go? I feel like, this is a lot of just extra stuff, and it might be stuff that, might affect it, but I think, let's finish exploring so we can get more story crammed in while we can. I yawned, finding my way to my room. I collapsed on the bed, not at all hungry. What I needed more was just rest, after all that sleeping. The nap on the bus was a couple of hours, but even then, I didn't sleep well last night. Maybe it was the idea of being far from home for a whole month that made me uneasy. Maybe it was something else messing with me. Something that had been bugging me ever since we pulled up. Something that was prodding me in the back of my mind, as if I'd forgotten something really important. I must have fallen asleep at some point. Every now and again, I get dreams, but nothing really all that normal. Sure, they were sometimes random, but those dreams weren't sometimes. I awoke to the sound of something echoing around the house. For a moment, I wondered what was going on, before I rolled over to check my phone for the time. As I got up from the bed, I wondered how long I'd actually been asleep for. "Dave, dinner's ready." Roswell must have been just down the hall, or maybe just outside my door. It was hard to tell, given how open this place was. The sound seemed to carry easily enough, which is probably why I heard the dinner bell as well. For a moment, I thought it was something like an old-fashioned fire alarm. As I stepped out from my room, I caught a glimpse of Roswell heading down the stairs, taking them two at a time, before almost slipping and falling over as he bound down the last one a little too eagerly. Yeah, so many. As I stepped into the dining room, I was greeted with a spread of food far too impressive and grandiose for just the seven of us. "Dave, welcome. What do you think? Pretty good, huh?" "Wait, you made this?" "He helped." Orlando laughed, waving Sal off, although it was clear he had been busted. My attention went back to the table, looking over at the food that was there. Various smells assaulted me and made my mouth water sooner than I was able to identify what each thing was by sight alone. With all the food at one end of the table, the others seemed to be pulling their plates and taking it to the other end of the table. Much like the others, I took a plate and grabbed a little bit of everything before deciding to where to sit. It felt like sitting in a high school cafeteria, except more intimate. And much like how I was trying to figure out where to sit, the others were eyeing me almost expectantly. I'll sit alone. Gonna do this? Random number generator of destiny eyes. Oh, that doesn't work as well. Well, we were with Tyson. Let's sit with Sal, I guess. I approached Sal. I hesitated as his gaze on me unwavered. Stop being shy of the empty seat beside him. I dipped my gaze down, rather than meet his eye directly. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. Is it fine that I sit here?" "If you have to." As if betraying his commitment as something unfriendly, he pulled the chair out for me so I could sit down, pushing it back in with his foot before returning to the food in front of him. Was he just tired? He seemed more abrasive than normal, but a lot of the time, he was just very blunt. "Have to sit somewhere, right? And I guess I sort of want to sit here too." He shrugged, playing with his food on his plate. The others by now had started conversing with themselves, in some sense of wondering if I should pick up the slack with Sal. The slack with Sal? "Are you liking the mansion so far?" "It's good." No follow-up. Just more staring at his food. As I was about to ask him something else, he continued. "Bigger than the place that I've seen before at 2 before. I like it, though." With a smile on his face, Sal skewered some of the meat he had piled onto his plate and began to eat. For the moment, there was a mix of things on the table for us to pick from: roasted vegetables, meats, plus a few sides. Sal had a little bit of everything. Did you just grab a little bit of everything? Was that not the point? I thought we could really just pick what we wanted. Sort of like a buffet? Oh, that makes sense. Maybe I should have grabbed more vegetables then. Vegetables? Don't crocodiles normally, go for more meats? Racist. Vegetables are good for a balanced diet. You need to eat your vegetables. And then you get dessert. While the others talked amongst themselves, I ate my foods, still half asleep from my nap. Soon enough, our meals were done, and I felt sated, at least for now. So, dessert, There was a look in Sal's eye that made him look concerned. His voice lowered to whisper, Ice cream. Do you think they have any? I would assume so. Oh, I should have gotten ice cream. I went to the store today. I hope so. I've gone and gotten it with Orlando a few times. The brain freeze is not so good though. It's been a while since I've had ice cream. What's your favorite? Flavor? Strawberry. Maybe I should try that. As I've gotten older, I've been like, strawberries and fruit stuff. Really? I would have guessed. Actually, I don't know what I would have guessed. It's the color, mostly. I really like pink. I nod slowly, wondering what I was going to get. It wasn't long before the door to the kitchen swung open, with the butler emerging from a small tray of what appeared to be desserts. Dessert is served, gentlemen. However, this particular spread was mostly Master Orlando's contribution to the meal, having tried to make something each of peculiarity to ease into your stay here. I can read. I looked across to Orlando, who went bright red and flashed us all with with bright smile. The butler reeled a tray around the table, placing dessert in front of each of us, ending with me. Oh, thank you. What is it, Master Dave? I don't think I know your name. Oh, my name's Butler. Oh, I'm no one important. Pay it no mind. Is it Jeeves? Pardon? Your name. What about Alfred? The butler eyed me carefully before speaking clearly and plainly. You can call me Benson. It is a pleasure to meet you all. He bowed slightly before gently placing the dessert intended for me on the table. If that may be all, gentlemen, I hope you enjoy the dessert and enjoy the rest of your evening. Feel free to leave your plates here, where they are, and I'll collect them later. I looked at the dessert placed in front of me and cooed softly. I looked over to Sal, who had already a spoon at the ready to dig into a strawberry ice cream. Guess you got your ice cream, huh? Sal scooped it into it slowly, letting the topping ooze and drip from the spoon back into the bowl. I did. His eyes turned to what was in front of me, curious. What's that? This? It smells like coffee and has a lot of cream, so I think it's tiramisu. I had tiramisu today. Tiramisu? Oh, I think I remember hearing about this. Orlando can't eat it. What? Why? The coffee, I think. You'd have to ask him. Do you want to try any? No. Thank you. I'm fine with my ice cream. There's a moment of pause before Sal sighed and slid his bowl closer to me. Here, you can try some if you want. Are you sure? He shrugged, but I got the impression that he was just doing it to be polite. Thankfully, strawberries aren't my favorite, so I was less eager to just jump right in. Nah, I think I'll pass. Thank you, though. There's the faintest showing of a relieved smile on his face as he drew his bowl back and resumed enjoying his dessert. For me, my tiramisu was creamy and chocolatey, but chocolatey? A tiramisu is chocolatey? But with those familiar coffee tones that hit my nose whenever I moved my spoon through the cream. The scent of coffee always made me nostalgic, maybe because of how often I smelled it around my family home. It was a safe place, or at least something they associated with safety. Before I knew it, I'd finished, yawning contentedly and sleepily despite there being coffee involved. Are we a cat? I know we're a hyena, but still. With everyone else fed, we filed out of the foyer, ready to turn in for the night. Well, I'm beat. Time to turn in. I haven't eaten that well in a long time. It was good. Very good. Better than what I've been eating. Really? That was a restaurant quality, wasn't it? I'd say better. That perfect mix of restaurant quality and homely charm. I could feel Orlando tense up next to me. He took pride in his cooking, so I wasn't sure if he was taking this as a challenge or an overall commitment on his capacity to cook. So, everyone else turned in too? I think so. I know I could use a cuddle and a sleep. Ooh? Dean shuffled up to me and put an arm on my shoulder, flashing me a particular brand of grin. A cuddle, huh? If it slips in, it slips in, just saying. Well, turns out I'm headed to be myself, so bed. Back off, bear, he's mine. I got this twink. Tyson stomped, his fur bristling. The tone he used was one I rarely had directed at me, an aggressive mix of angry and possessive. It was enough to make Dean falter, immediately pulling his arm away and taking a few steps back. Sal mumbled something to Dean, arms folded. Dean seemed to repeatedly agree with whatever it was, looking sheepish. Orlando, however, stepped forward, choosing to confront Tyson instead. You should watch your tone, Wolf. What, you looking to pick over a fight over how I talk? If that was talking, I'd hate to have a civil conversation with you. They didn't break out into an actual fight. Instead, just as snarling at one another. It seemed as one wrong move would set him off. I could see it in Tyson's face. He was about to make his move. He slid over to him, as Tyson took one step forward towards Orlando. Sal stepped over from his talk with Dean and grabbed Ty under his arms, lifting him just off the ground so he couldn't do anything more. I'll pulled Orlando aside to keep them properly separated. I'm not sure if this is the best time to raise this, but if we're here for a month, it might be best to get out of the way now. It might not be worth considering doing something as a group. A game, maybe, to keep things civil? What sort of game? Something only a setting such as this would provide. Something aside from DVDs or video games available upstairs. Something team-based, perhaps. Oh, but what do you have in mind? I haven't gone that far. I know that feeling. But I'm sure I can think of something. I'll consult with Benson what options are available to us, and we can go from there. Whatever it is, I'm sure we can give it a go. Outside of maybe finding a place to do some fishing. Maybe wander in the woods? I have no plans. I don't think anyone's had plans yet, but if you need a hand setting up, just let me know. Absolutely willing to help. I'm not sure if I could help, but if you think I can, say the word. But for now, I'm going to go to bed. Thanks, two of us. Night, everyone. Dean Haas wandered upstairs and out of sight. Night, Dave. Yeah, sleep well. See you at breakfast? Then Roswell and Orlando followed suit. Tyson shrugged Sal off, grumbling. He was let go and kicked the ground, annoyed. Shy and giving Sal an unimpressed look, he went upstairs like the others. Then lastly, Sal followed behind, giving me nothing more than a nod and a wave before I was along in the foyer, alone. As I stood in the entryway, I felt myself getting lost in the feeling of being royalty, or just someone rich enough to call this place home. But something didn't feel quite right, like I was being watched, and it made my stomach sit uneasy. There was no one behind me that I could see, no one waiting to jump out and give me a scare, and even no trace of the butler. I put it down to tiredness. Nothing was out to get me, and nothing was going to go wrong. That was the sentiment that took me all the way upstairs until I collapsed on the bed. After a good meal and a long day on the bus, it didn't take me long to fall asleep. Day 1 to 3. And with us hitting that 1 minute mark, I think that's a good time to call it. And it's weird that I do this, even though it's like, So, and this, let's place a comment, cause I like comments. Tell me what you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise, if you like my YouTube and would like to see it grow. Then please like, subscribe, and check out other videos to help it grow. And please remember to spay near your animals to help control the best pet population. Just reading this thing right here. What's an AMA? I was just looking at the thing and it was like post-mortem? How long is this thing? I'm just trying to look at his Jeez. It's a bit of words. I guess this game is dead? Though it's kind of weird. I've been seeing it and heard that it was good or something like that. That's kind of one reason why I put it on, but I also just kind of put stuff on my things, Okay, he says it's a failure and post-mortem. Okay, so I guess this game is, canceled or something like that. That's too bad. But, yeah. If you guys want to play this game, it's available free on itch.io. They have a Patreon still, I guess. If you want me to do a Let's Play series of this game, then tell me, and I'll give it a point which will put higher on the user's choice list. And if you want me to do a quick look of any other game, I can do that. And I kind of feel like I can just, since there's so many visual novels, I can just, maneuver that one into furry side plays and stuff like that. It's still going to be in the same playlist, it's just not going to have the thing that we're going to be doing in, like, a good couple of a minute or two. Anyways, comment, guys, like, comments, tips you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise, if you like my YouTube and would like to see it grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out the videos to help grow. And please remember to spay and renew your animals to help control the pet population. But it's still not the end of this thing, because we have to see what we're doing next time. So, I'm leaning in, apparently. Move this to quick looked. We have 16 nodes, 14. Random number generator of destiny. Tell me what you do. And number is number 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. And let me look up the thing. Okay, there it is. Okie dokie. Jachoki. Nevin. And also, it seems a bit higher in the music, so gonna click on that. Need to have it just touch the yellow there. Okay, embark on a journey in a universe of Nevin, a visual novel set in the medieval fantasy world, where a race of anthropomorphic animals, the Anthrokin, live, fight, and love. Woo. You'll follow Eric, a young white rabbit who travels through the kingdom of Frostfang in order to participate in a competition that will see the winner become royal bard. Huh. What kind of competition? You'd have to assume a music competition. In the world where everyone has magical ability linked to the gods, called the brand. Eric is one of the few who did not expect to receive it at adulthood. Explore a living, realistic world where politics mixes with court intrigues and religious conflicts. Play a protagonist with a strong and eccentric personality as you discover the world of Nevin. Meet the different inhabitants of the world of Tislan. Meet Tenok, a lizard wielding fire, an heir of the empire of Malebjorn, a cunning bear prince of Frostfang. Create alliances, make friendships, and more. That being the love part, I guess. Nevin is a story intended for adult audiences. Blah blah blah, yada yada. I think it's in Spanish. Heck, my throat. So if you want to play this game, it's available free on itch.io. I'm just looking at other things. I remember doing Santa Lucia a while ago. Oh, let's just see. Patreon? Yes, you can support them on Patreon. So yeah, the previous game was, they had updates stop at like 2023, 24, and he did say it was, SOL. But this game right here, as of November 2025, had an update 1 day ago. That being November 1st. And until next time, another Let's Play. Quick look by me, GamerWolfSix of this game. Thanks and see ya.